So I'm going to shoot this one to you, Bert. What would you say about it? What role does HR training play in shaping company culture and strategies that actually work?
Yeah, well, training uncovers, practical real world approaches to fostering a strong, positive workplace culture. And so HR really has a role to play in that training to bring the employees along, to get them up to speed, and I would say not just up to speed, but to engender buy-in by the employees on why we're doing this, why we're doing these things, and why all of a sudden relating it back to Doge. What is the reason for requesting the 5 things and that you did last week? And if you can get the employee buy-in, that to me is critical to getting through the changes. But that requires great communication.
Back to communication. And, usually buy-in isn't hard to get if you can get understanding, even when there's disagreement. And that's,
Agree.
you and I had this conversation when we had Luther and Fred Falker, and we were talking just a couple weeks ago on our special program for DE&I. And it's like when you can sit down and have a conversation about things and focus on what we need to do and what is probably better to do versus where we're divided and approaching it from an adversarial standpoint, it's easy to move forward. It's not complicated. Everyone knows a company has to survive and be healthy in order to employ people. And now not everyone's motivated the same way, but people do understand. The majority of people understand. And then I think you'll get, the flock mentality where everyone will come along in that.
Yeah, and
But you
again,
have to start with the right vision in mind, with the right communication.
and again, Phil, I think you hit a critical point there. Not everyone getting buy-in doesn't mean you have everybody's agreement with it. What you need is
Right.
their understanding of it. They may not agree with what you're doing or the ultimate result of it, but at least they can understand it. And if they understand it, I think that you can actually get the buy-in. It's great if they actually accept it and agree with it, because then they'll become advocates for it. But again, you just need to make sure that they have an understanding, that they don't view things as being unfair, arbitrary, or a word I hear you use in conversation all the time, Phil, capricious. Arbitrary and capricious. Employees don't like that.
That's right. That's one of my favorite words. You're right, Bert. I can't spell it, but I do like it. Hey, here's another thing. I'm assuming that becomes a challenge for you as a lawyer sometimes. Saying if you had a jury trial or anything, you don't have to like this, but you have to understand the law. I
Yeah,
would assume that is always not always, but often a point of differentiation, right? Of you have your own personal feelings, you have your own perspective on this, but the law says,
that's right.
yeah,
Well, I mean, we've talked about it quite a bit, with respect to Title VII and DE&I.
yeah,
And the Title
exactly.
VII, what it says is you may not consider protected statuses as you make employment related decisions. You can't consider it. You have to make decisions without regard to those protected statuses. And a lot of people don't like that, but that's what the law is.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did the same thing with Missouri Proposition A. Like the first 15 minutes is everyone just throwing up all their emotions about, I don't like it, it's unfair, why did we do this? But in the end, we got to comply with it. You can check out all the training that you would need to find on the AIM website. There's plenty of programs depending on where you want to start. I would highly recommend you start with our Leadership for Leads program, and it's designed to go take your lead people through your Supervisor Essentials program, through your Principles of Leadership program. It's a 3-step program, and it just allows you to develop your people sequentially. It's not dipping them in one time and they're done. It gives you the ability to progress them through a process of learning, and you will no doubt see results from that. And if you want to measure those, then you give us a call and you'll work with Tanya Zion, and she's excellent at that.
Thanks for being an on-demand viewer of This Week at Work. Don't forget you can be part of the show by watching live at 7:30 a.m. Central every Thursday morning, when you can get your burning questions answered by using the question mark icon to the right of the player. In fact, you can ask a question now. Head over to aimea.org. Under Member Resources, you'll find This Week at Work. Click Listen Live to register for our next episode and submit a question. Or follow or subscribe wherever you get your news and entertainment. We'll see you next week when we discuss what's happening this week at work.